You can't tell me you guys actually go out and these things.
Well, what would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Roll Screen Team. I'm Andrew Thomas. I'm here with fellow X Men Christopher Johnson.
Hello, everyone.
And we're here to continue our X Men Athon.
Yep, starting with the film that started it all. And a very important film besides Blade, this was the first proper superhero film that started the second comic book movie boom.
Mm-hmm.
So,
You want to get into the overview?
well, sure. X Men is a 2000 superhero film based on the Marvel Comics superhero team of the same name created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. The film was produced by 20th Century Fox, Marvel Entertainment Group, and the Donner's Company and Bad Hat Harry Productions. The film was distributed by 20th Century Fox. The film was directed by Bryan Singer from a screenplay written by David Hayter based on a story by Tom DeSanto and Singer. The film stars an ensemble cast consisting of Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackman, Ian McKellen, Halle Berry, Famke Janssen, James Marsden, Bruce Davison, Rebecca Romaine, Ray Park, and Anna Paquin.
So we're going to get a synopsis.
Okay. They are children of the atom, Homo superior, the next link in the chain of evolution. Each was born within an unique genetic mutation, which at puberty manifested itself in extraordinary powers. In a world filled with hate and prejudice, they are feared by those who cannot accept their differences. Led by Professor Charles Xavier, the X-Men fight to protect the world that fears them. They are locked in a battle with Xavier's former colleague and friend, Magneto, who believes humans and mutants could never coexist. And he plans on destroying humanity by making them mutants.
It's still a great movie.
Yes.
That's why we watched it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird watching these films under Disney's umbrella.
Well, most of them.
Yeah, I'm still wondering about that with
Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I'm still wondering about that. Is it a legal thing?
Or they're just temporarily not using it, which is odd because it's that time of year. They should put that in.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Yeah.
But overall, I would definitely say the story is very good.
Yeah.
Very bare bones.
Yeah.
It feels like an actual comic book story come to life. I mean, the whole turn all humans into mutants and see who survives.
Yeah.
Yeah. That seems very on par with what Magneto would do.
Yeah.
But
let's discuss the cast.
Okay. Should we start with the man that we named first, or the man that would end up becoming the mascot for this whole franchise?
Our mascot.
Okay. Logan, a.k.a. Wolverine, played by Hugh Jackman.
He's actually really great in this movie. He's really great in this movie. I want to say actually, he's been great.
That's underselling it. This man is quite possibly one of the best casting ever for a character.
Yeah.
There is a reason why this man is still the main person portraying this character after over 20 years.
Which makes it ironic because he wasn't the one cast.
I know. He was the second to last person considered.
Everyone was filming way before he came in. The actual actor was Dougray Scott, the guy who we know in the Doctor Who episode Hyde. In there, playing one of the paranormal ghost people. And he ends up being in another superhero franchise, which is terrible, Batwoman.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. But I think it was because of scheduling conflicts that he couldn't become Wolverine, so we got Hugh Jackman instead.
But I think that was, in a weird way, a happy accident.
Yeah.
Because Hugh Jackman is perfect.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that the man is actually much taller than what Wolverine is. Wolverine is roughly 5'2" to 5'6".
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman is over 6 foot. So the sizing is a bit off, but the man apparently understood this character very well.
Yep.
He understood of just the much more reserved, loner, brooding badass.
And he was told not to read the comics, so he didn't get any perceived things until after filming, which he did later on.
Which is weird because he got it down pat.
Yeah.
He really did get it down pat
Yeah.
without really having to look at the source material.
Yeah.
Which I find that very weird.
Yep. They do that with every actor.
Well,
some good and some bad. Later on, bad.
True. I think that's the reason why later on they actually did have the actors at least look a little bit into the source material.
Yeah.
You know, not directly act like the character you see in the comics, but at least get the groundwork on their characteristics.
Yep. But his audition was mainly the Anna Paquin rogue scene, basically, with one of the script writers or one of the producers, just reading the lines.
And also, it's kind of a weird meta thing because before we got the X Men animated series, there was that weird pilot that was made a few years before that, prior to the X Men. And they decided to have...
But there's another one precursor, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, where Wolverine's also... where the same actor is the one who's the Australian Wolverine. That was before Pride. So he basically voices Australian Wolverine for both of those.
Oh my god.
Yep.
And it was always deemed weird, and why?
Yeah.
Why does he have an Australian accent? He's Canadian?
Because the actor read the script and the way the script was presented him as Australian.
Well, because Crocodile Dundee was popular during the time, and everybody was crazy about Australia for that period. So
that was irony.
In the end, the guy that would end up playing the character and do it the best is Australian.
Yep. I like his lines, like the line that he improvises with Professor X. What do they call you, Wheels? That was an improvisation from Hugh Jackman in that one.
I think there were a number of things that were improvised by Hugh that just worked.
Yeah. Although you can see some of the movie that he's not all muscled up in some parts because he was cast late.
Yeah, so some parts he looks rather lean.
Yeah.
And then other parts he's bulked up a bit.
Yeah.
Continuity?
Yeah.
But Hugh Jackman, fantastic, truly.
Yep.
But
And he's basically the one that actually gets the whole backstory of the X Men through Professor X.
yeah. And speaking of Professor X, why don't we get into the other perfect casting? Charles Xavier, aka Professor X, played by Patrick Stewart.
At that time, I only knew him from Star Trek, and I never even watched Star Trek Next Generation or any Star Trek at that time. I knew of it.
Same here. Because I remember seeing bits and pieces of Star Trek The Next Generation watching with my uncle.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart, I don't think there could have been anyone else to play this role.
No.
There really could not have been anyone else. He, like I said, next to Hugh Jackman and another casting that we'll talk about in another film, perfect casting.
Yep.
Did he really do much research into the character before he played it?
No, he didn't. He didn't even know about the X-Men thing when he was thinking that they were interviewing him for like the X-Files or something. He was like, I'm not really interested in and stuff like that.
Not really interested in this whole comic book idea.
Yeah.
But it would end up becoming one of his most iconic roles.
Yeah, the director had to tell him how his comic book counterpart got in a wheelchair.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's what enticed him?
Eventually, yeah. I think that was during filming, though. He's like, how did I actually get it put in a wheelchair?
Well, you were fighting some weird, crazy extraterrestrial and got crippled. Yeah, it's going to be different in future films, but what you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah, but he was great for his moments. He was mainly the exposition.
Yeah, the exposition, and at one point, one of the oh no MacGuffins.
Yep, but first he gets put out of the way from what we will find out his ex-adopted sister.
Yeah, things made so much more sense before they started meddling.
Yep.
In First Class.
Yeah, which makes everything so ironic now.
Yeah.
Of what Mystique did to him. I guess she was real just ticked off after living with him for so long.
Or essentially feeling like he was more taking control of her?
Yeah. So that was her get back at him.
I think that's the reason why in the end she kind of got sick of both Charles and Eric, because they in a weird way they did kind of manipulate her.
Yeah, but we're talking about for Professor X. He does do good as the mentor role.
Yes, and as well, I think he's the only person we actually see teaching the kids.
Yeah, we don't. Well, we do see the other X-Men sort of in the montage.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
For real, in these initial films, it's mainly him and Storm.
Yeah. And Cyclops, he was teaching like one of his vehicle classes.
Auto shop.
Yeah.
Understandable. Mm-hmm. Well, seeing as though I did bring him up.
Yeah.
Well, wait. Should we continue with the rest of the X-Men?
Yeah, we should do the X-Men first.
Okay. Should we start with the leader, or...
Yeah, we'll do the leader.
Scott Summers, a.k.a. Cyclops, played by James Marsden.
Last time we discussed about him was the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Yes, and he's going to be a part of our Dear God, they are so recurring in everything we talk about for the next half of this year.
Yep.
Dear God, at least a third of this cast we're going to be talking about in so many different properties.
Yep.
And also my apologies for stopping you. My apologies. But there is an important thing that we need to discuss. Why did you all have to Why'd you all have to utterly destroy the character of Cyclops? I know during this whole period of time, it had long been established, the whole love triangle thing and of Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean Grey. I get that. And I do understand that Wolverine had become very popular.
Mm-hmm.
But in the course of the films, starting with this one, why did you have to make Cyclops a lame douche? I mean, wearing Tom Cruise from Mission Impossible sunglasses. Dear God, this man is actually wearing a turtleneck. Douche.
Yeah.
He's the leader of the X Men. Cyclops is actually awesome. He's an Omega level mutant. There's a reason why he is the main leader.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the pecking order of leaders is Professor X, Cyclops, then Storm.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
He's a great leader. He is a great character. Mm-hmm. And yet you all decide to sacrifice his character just to make Wolverine more important than what he already was. We already knew he was going to be the fan favorite.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to sacrifice Cyclops like this.
Yep.
I mean, half of the time it's either him essentially being shown up by Wolverine or getting captured.
Yeah. But that's in the next one.
Well, or having his visor taken off and, oh no, I gotta keep eyes closed.
Yeah.
That's essentially this first film.
Yeah, well, he actually does more in this one compared to the other film.
Which is weird, because it doesn't feel like it, but yeah, it...
Yeah, because he ends up having a good moment with Professor X after he gets put into a coma there, and he actually does do the hero shot against Magneto.
Yes, he actually he did get the W.
Yeah.
Okay, not everything was a complete wash for Cyclops, but this was the start of showing how downhill it was going to get.
Yeah.
I mean, with what he was given, James Marsden did do a good job.
Yeah, even though he had to stand on apple boxes to make him look like his comic book counterpart compared to Wolverine.
Again, another reason why did they pick tall actors to play the short guy and the average height of a female woman,
Yep.
and then pick shorter man to play the guy that's supposed to be over 6 foot?
And he doesn't even use his own vehicles in this one.
I know. Man doesn't get to drive the X-Bike. That's given to Wolverine, which I do love his reaction of when it goes into turbo. I do love that.
Yeah. And then the next movie, Wolverine steals another vehicle of his.
Oh, his car.
Yeah.
We'll get more into that in the next one. But James Marsden did do a good job, but I do feel like they did a major disservice to Cyclops.
Yep.
And speaking of the other person that is in this revolving love triangle, and in weird ways, she's kind of she's the main advocate for the X-Men.
Yeah.
Jean Grey, played by Famke Janssen.
Last time we talked about her was my expert novice on the faculty.
Which we do plan on redoing that.
Yeah.
Remastering that.
If whenever Scream Factory decides to go through the 4K, since they decide to delay it.
Of course.
So.
And, of course, we're going to be talking more about Famke Janssen in our next marathon.
Yeah, but she does great. She plays the hot scientist.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
I like her when she's wearing the glasses, but that's just me.
Is that just your thing, glasses?
Yeah.
Glasses?
Apparently now, yeah. In my older age, yeah.
But I really enjoyed Famke Janssen as Jean Grey.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, based off of the limitations of what they were able to do on screen, this actually came to her benefit because a good chunk of what she was supposed to do was supposed to be for Beast.
Yeah.
But they hadn't really figured out
The makeup.
Plus, I don't know.
I think Beast was also going to be in the background also. So.
But I think it was good that they chose Jean Grey to mainly do a lot of these things. It really made her feel like a very important and prominent character among the team. I mean, it's her and Scott were the first two people that were, brought into the school by Xavier.
Yeah.
As far as the comics.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they would be the prominent, members doing things for Xavier.
Yeah.
Such as her actually going to Capitol Hill and talking to Congress about, the fact of the whole idea of mutant registration is pretty messed up.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, this also made me think of another thing. With this whole story of the X Men being an allegory of the civil rights movement, racism, prejudice, intolerance, things like that. Why do we have people of minority groups actively cheering for the mutants to go through these things? That
irony.
Yes, because that's essentially his dooming us to repeat history.
Yeah.
If we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it, and there it goes again. Is it supposed to be cruel irony? Is it?
Yeah. But her character development, she actually does fix Cerebro after Mystique nearly kills Charles, so she fixes it, and she actually uses it for the first time to go find where Magneto has Rogue.
And nearly wrecks herself in the process.
Yeah. And she also does it telepathically with the Cyclops visor thing. At the end, they go get Sabretooth.
So, yeah, Jean did come in clutch.
Yeah.
Plus, on top of it, I did actually like some of the chemistry she had with Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. That's why they pushed it more than, sadly, James Marsden.
Which, poor Cyclops.
Yeah.
I mean, for you make him look like a douche.
Mm-hmm.
You make him get punked out by Wolverine. Mm-hmm. You make him... and then you essentially have his girl spend more time with the other guy than him.
Yeah.
They
But let's talk about the other X Men.
Yes. Aurora Monroe, a.k.a. Storm, played by Halle Berry.
Yep. At that time, she was the only other that main actress that I knew. Between her and Patrick Stewart, those were the only two. Everyone else, I didn't know the names at the time because I didn't really watch any of the movies with them in it. So,
true.
Yeah.
Well, I did also know Rebecca Romaine thanks to Austin Powers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And Ray Park because Star Wars.
Yeah. I think I didn't put 3 and 2 together at that time with Ray Park, so I didn't know.
But yeah, definitely knew Halle Berry. Definitely knew she's a good actress. But they didn't necessarily give her much to do in this film. Which I feel like that's a major disservice.
Yeah, although she does electrocute Toad.
Which made me upset.
Yep.
Even though I do want to see villainy be defeated, why you got to take out one of the best parts of the whole movie.
Yeah, and then she has like 2 good scenes. One with Wolverine, where he debates her on, have you he's like, "Are you sure you're on the right side?" And she says, "At least I chose in a side." And then she's on Robert Kelly's deathbed.
Yeah, she was actually there to,
Yeah,
give him some semblance of comfort before his unfortunate death,
yeah,
which was a horrible way to go.
yeah.
So they at least showed some semblance of her being the much more nurturing member of the X-Men that she tends to be.
And she has a dialect coach.
Oh,
Because they were trying to get the South African accent.
And unfortunately, while Hallie is a good actress, she could not nail that down. That's why
They got rid of it after this movie. And not let her not do it after this movie.
Yeah. Even though I think she still tried a little bit in the next film.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was one of the actresses that went through the whole transition of, oh, I have an accent, to, oh, I kind of have an accent, to, I don't have an accent anymore.
Yeah.
She is the beginning of that.
Yep. That does happen again to Elizabeth Olsen during the MCU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it also happened to at least a couple other actors as well.
Yeah.
But she was the beginning. I guess, do we get into the main girl, MacGuffin?
Yeah.
Do I acknowledge what last name we gave her? Or no?
No, not really.
Okay. Marie, a.k.a. Rogue, played by Anna Paquin.
Yeah. And she was familiar with the cartoon since she was at that age.
Yeah. Her being the kid of the group, I'm not surprised that she actually did watch the series, though.
They basically made her into Jubilee.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Or Kitty Pryde in the comics, because Kitty Pryde's the one who has the relationship with Logan in the comics.
Yeah, that as well. That's one of the things that I felt a bit weird about with all the films.
Yeah, I was surprised. I'm like, that's Rogue when I first watched it.
Yeah, because we've always known her as, this real cool, awesome, kind of flirty Southern belle that can pick up a freaking truck, yeet it at an enemy, and then start flying.
Yeah.
While she's just Southern emo goth girl.
Who gets captured by Magneto to go kill everyone, including herself.
Yeah. Her essentially just being a MacGuffin for the main plot.
Yeah. And she has a bit of a crush on Wolverine, which is weird.
Well, yeah. Though at the same time, he sees her more as
a daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, that is one thing I did kind of like.
Yeah.
Throughout the films, that they did touch upon, despite the fact of Wolverine being that gruff loner, he does have a soft spot for the kids.
Yep.
And he actually does want to do what's best for them.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes he does kind of act like, a father or a big brother to them.
Yeah. But, yeah.
But I do, they essentially turned Rogue into Jubilee, and I feel like that's a major disservice to the character. But Anna Paquin did do a good job with what she was given.
Yeah.
But I guess
go into the Brotherhood.
Starting with the leader himself, Eric Lesher, a.k.a. Magneto, played by Ian McKellen.
Yep. He was great.
Yes. The gravitas and charisma of Magneto needed to call upon an actor of great pedigree.
Yep.
And Ian McKellen was that actor.
Yep.
I mean, just a lot of his lines felt like true soliloquies from a Shakespearean story.
Yep. Well, like I said, I didn't realize midway through that it was the same kid from the opening, because we get the dark opening with
them acknowledging that he was a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah. Which made it even weird when they decided to show it in Germany.
Oh, good Lord. Ooh, that had to be awkward.
Yeah.
That had to be awkward.
Yep.
But I think they did do a good job in kind of showing why Magneto is the way he is.
Yeah.
I mean, not just on top of the fact that the man was a Germanic Jew that survived the Holocaust.
Yeah.
He's also a mutant and has faced great prejudice and discrimination on top of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can understand his whole idea of humanity is the scourge and mutants should take over. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, bro, you're no better than the people that did the horrible things to you, which I guess is supposed to show the greater irony of his character.
Like letting the rogue die so she can make the other humans into mutants.
I think he had more of the idea of the whole some must sacrifice themselves, become martyrs for a greater cause.
Yes. But he has good interaction with Patrick Stewart.
Oh yes. This is
since they were friends since the plays that they've done.
Yeah. And I mean, they're still close friends to this day.
Yeah.
You just having fun, just doing stuff out in New York and what have you.
Yep. Yep. I like the beginning scene from the Congress when they talk.
Yeah, when Charles notices Eric and they go and have their discussion.
Yep, and then again when Charles brainwashed where it gets inside Sabretooth and Toad's head,
and essentially tries to be like, "Don't do this, Eric. Don't do this."
But Eric tips his hand and wins out in that part.
Yeah,
and then the visit in the good old plastic jail, which we find out wasn't the first plastic jail Magneto's been in.
Very true. Very true.
So he's used to it by then. Those visits by Charles Xavier.
Yeah, playing chess.
Yep. Saying the familiar lines will be repeated in Apocalypse, which is a movie we're not reviewing, so.
Yeah. Not enough time, and plus, oh, good Lord.
Yeah. But it was great. I did like the helmet.
Yes, they were actually able to make Magneto's whole outfit a lot more dignified and realistic.
Yep.
Which I feel like, he was one of the characters that got a better outfit.
Yep. And the outfits keep changing slightly.
Yeah.
Not a total change. And then let's get to his band, the Brotherhood.
I guess starting with the Femme Fatale.
Yeah.
Raven Darkholme, a.k.a. Mystique, played by Rebecca Romijn.
She does great for not having hardly any lines except for one.
Yeah. I don't think Rebecca Romijn gets enough credit of how good of an actress she is. Yeah. Because over time throughout these films, we see her grow more and more. And, I mean, just already in this film, she definitely played Mystique perfect to a T, despite the fact they didn't give her a lot of lines.
Yeah. Her only line is when she kicks Senator Robert Kelly.
You're the reason why I never was able to go to school as a kid.
Yeah.
and then started slapping him with her feet.
When Rebecca Romijn could see. Because they took out the contact lenses.
Ah.
That's what they said in the commentary.
Were they really that... They were really that uncomfortable and that difficult that she couldn't even see. Oof.
And she's mainly naked.
Yeah, that's also a weird thing. They did the body paint thing.
Even though in Mystique in the comics and the TV show she has clothes on when she so her clothes also shape shift.
Yeah, but I think that they were thinking that that's maybe a bit too much, too impractical. How are you going to explain clothes also changing along with the person? So.
Yep. And so most of the Canadian days she's outside in the cold, naked.
Oof.
Especially that Sandra Kelly scene,
Oof. Hey, but she's a trooper. She did it. She did it for the love of the craft.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure she had to deal with more cold in the next movie, being naked.
But like I said, she did fantastic.
Yep. Of course, like we said before, because of the first class thing, she was pretty pissed at Charles. And probably not to tell Magneto. It probably said, "Oh, it wasn't gonna hurt him a lot."
He almost died. He was in a coma.
Yeah, she failed to tell her boss, the one who still likes and respects Charles, that.
Oof. But I guess, do we go into the Muscle or do we go into...
We go into Toad.
Yes. My favorite character of this whole movie, Mortimer Toynbee, a.k.a. Toad, played by Ray Park.
His first superhero stuff that he's done.
For the longest time, Toad has always been seen kind of as this sniveling toady to Magneto. And was always kind of seen as a bit lame because of that. This film actually made Toad awesome. Mm-hmm. Because, one, while he is a part of the Brotherhood, he's not sniveling to Magneto. Mm-hmm. He's deemed as an equal. Two, he's also an additional brains to the operation. He's the one building a lot of the stuff that they use.
Yep.
And three, just the utter charisma and perfect acrobat and stunt ability of Ray Park.
Yep.
I mean...
Yeah, I never realized he was Darth Maul.
But now, looking at it, oh yeah, you understand.
Yeah.
Because he was just so awesome. It actually took a number of the X-Men to properly defeat him.
Yeah, since he whooped Cyclops and Jean, and even Storm.
And, I mean, with his really freakishly long tongue that he's whipping everybody up and down and all over the place. All of his jumping and crawling on walls.
Yeah.
Apparently, his jump and landing ability is so strong he can crush a human while they're standing up.
Yeah.
And also his ability to shoot... It's not really acid. It's shoot that mucus that can suffocate you. Plus, the man was so in the zone, he does a little dance just to taunt them before he continues whooping them.
Yep. Until he gets what's coming to him from Storm.
You know what happens to a toad when it's hit with lightning?
The only Joss Whedon line.
I was so upset. I was so upset. I was like, really? You kill off my favorite character of this whole film? That's not fair.
Yeah. Well, I think the future past would have rectified it, maybe. Question mark.
But he looks completely different, played by a completely different actor, and he's not even English anymore. They made him American.
Mm-hmm. But let's get into the muscle now.
Oh, yes. Victor Creed, a.k.a. Sabretooth, played by Tyler Mane.
He even says less lines than Mystique in some ways.
Actually, no, he says more.
Yeah.
Not just under control by Charles. They actually play more into the psychopath nature of him.
He wants to get really turned on of hearing Storm scream.
Yeah, which that is very Sabretooth.
Yeah.
When the man was first introduced into the comics, he was a serial killer.
Yeah.
So it would make all the sense in the world that he would have like a sick, twisted satisfaction out of something like that.
Yeah. I think my favorite part is the Statue of Liberty fight with him and Wolverine.
Yes.
And if you see the special features, the animatics in this is really good for it at that time. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely for 2000.
Yeah.
And some aspects of it do still hold up.
Yeah.
Except for Wolverine, save myself by using my claws to flip.
Yeah. That they showed in the trailers a lot.
Yeah.
Yep. And in this, they have no relation with each other.
Or backstory, which is another thing that is unfortunate about the film.
Even though he does look more a lot comic book accurate at that time, and animated series accurate.
Yeah.
And he actually watched the animated series with his kids, so.
So he understood the character. Yeah. That's why Tyler Mane did do a good job, and plus, being a professional wrestler at the time, he also had the build and stature to, go toe-to-toe with Hugh Jackman and look like a menacing threat.
Yep. He gets shot by Cyclops telepathically through Jean. That's the last we see of his Sabretooth, although now that we debated this before, he does show up in the game. That
do show what was happening in between.
Yeah, that in Act 3, yeah.
So what was he locked up or?
Maybe, yeah, pretty sure, yeah. Because he has more of an interaction with Wolverine in the game, so yeah, voiced by Hugh Jackman.
They actually got like almost the entire cast back for that.
Yeah.
So at some point, I want to find a way to play that game.
Yeah. Yep. So
I swear that the games for the movies back then, because they gave you so much more content that actually fit with the character.
Yeah, but should we discuss the good or?
Well, yeah. Like we said, story was good.
Yeah.
All the acting was good, but you got to give it up mainly for Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and Anna Paquin.
Yeah.
They all did a fantastic job.
Yeah. And this is basically the most Anna Paquin does.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Well, the other three have more to do in the later movies.
Well, yeah, because they're three of the main characters of this whole franchise.
Of course, the score.
Yes.
Which was the original score, because which was scored by the late Michael Kamen.
Which was one of the last few things that he did score before his unfortunate passing.
Yeah. I love the score. I listened to the soundtrack on YouTube, so.
Like we said, the action was fantastic. I mean, all the various fights that they had. And plus, they showed all the mutant abilities properly.
Yeah.
Which I give them all the credit in the world.
Yeah. And of course, the effects. With Wolverine's claws being mainly
practical.
Yeah.
Most of everything was practical. There was still some early CGI, mainly for Mystique.
Yeah.
And Wolverine to, the flip to stop him from falling off the Statue of Liberty, but everything else was practical.
Yep.
And it was fantastic.
Yep.
Plus, we also do have to give a special shout out to a special minor role character who would actually grow into greater importance as the series goes on.
Yeah.
Bobby Drake, a.k.a. Iceman, played by Shawn Ashmore.
After Smallville reviews, because that was her...
Yeah, okay, chalk him up into, dear God, why are they so recurring for this next year?
Yep.
But with the small part he had, he was pretty good.
Yep. Even though setting up with Rogue was the oddity of that part.
True.
Yep.
I always felt like, why couldn't they let us have Gambit?
Yeah.
Why?
And Gambit still gets the shafts.
I swear. But he's not the only cameos that we have.
Yeah.
We have Sumela Kay as Kitty Pryde.
The first one.
Yeah, before she gets recast.
Twice.
Katrina Florence as Jubilee.
Yep.
Which she would also get recasted.
Yep, and she actually looks like Jubilee.
Yeah, actually dresses like her.
Only without her name being called at all.
Donald McKinnon is Peter Rasputin, a.k.a. Colossus. I think he's one of the few that did not get... Is he one of the few that...
Yeah, he does get recast.
Yeah.
For the next one, yeah.
That's unfortunate. And we would also see Alexander Burton as John Allardyce, a.k.a. Pyro.
Who also gets recast in the next one.
It was not a good time.
Yeah.
Plus...
He was trying to flirt with Rogue, and that didn't work out.
Yeah.
Bobby cock-blocked him.
Yeah, got shown up.
Yeah.
Had his fire frozen.
Yeah.
And plus, let's not forget that we also have some important people that have their special cameos. David Hayter.
Yep.
He has a cameo. I think, is he one in the crowd, or is he...
I don't remember.
I forget.
I don't remember.
I do know Tom DeSanto.
Yeah, he gets squashed.
Yeah, he was the guard that got sandwiched by Toad.
Yeah.
George Buza?
Yeah.
Yeah, the voice of Beast. He was the trucker that actually gave Rogue a ride to the bar where she meets Wolverine.
Yep.
And, of course, we also have a Stan Lee cameo!
Yep.
Where he gets a hot dog from unnamed offender at the beach while everybody's looking at a completely naked Robert Kelly after he got turned into a mutant.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of that, we did forget about him. Robert Kelly, played by Bruce Davidson.
He does great playing the Robert Kelly that we all know.
Yeah.
Although I was
Sometimes he's a bit more. He's a bit less evil, and then sometimes he's more. It all depends on how they want to write him.
Yep.
It's weird. I recently watched the X Men show. They save him. He seems like he's cool with them, but then later on, oh yes, Sentinels. Let's go take them all out. Until you find out that the Sentinels plan on removing your brain.
Yeah. And then he actually begins his redemption by becoming president and partying Beast. Yeah.
But Bruce Davison did do a good job.
Yeah.
And
I was bummed when he dies.
yeah. And you could tell during the course of that time, one, he knew he was dying.
Yeah.
And two, I think he had more of his enlightenment moment of what we are doing is absolutely inhumane and terrible. Despite the fact that these people are mutants, they are still people.
Yeah. But sadly, his redemption arc gets replaced by Mystique.
Which...
Mystique will be him.
Why did it have to be Robert Kelly?
Yeah.
To be the sacrificial lamb in this
I know.
one. And plus, he's not the only other important character that is a recurring villain that apparently dies. They got rid of Henry Peter Gyrick.
The guy in the animated series with the sunglasses. That's supposed to be him.
That's the main villain as far as,
While Trask makes the
people that work in the government that hate mutants.
Yeah, well, Trask makes the Sentinels. He's the one who enforces the Sentinels.
Yeah, because Trask isn't necessarily evil.
Yeah.
He's mainly doing this because the government wants him to.
Yeah. He could have been the bad guy for Days of Future Past instead of Trask.
Yeah, it would have made more sense now, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, in the whole story of Days of Future Past, it's supposed to be the assassination of Kelly.
Yeah.
So,
along with Professor X and Mora.
Yeah. So why did they waste Robert Kelly in this one?
Yeah, I know. Were they thinking that they weren't going to get another one?
Possibly.
Probably, yeah.
Because, remember, this was the first really big shot at making a comic book film.
That's probably why they did it.
So, I do understand that, but looking back at it, based on the series, it didn't make...
They could have used other regular characters that weren't familiar with.
Yeah.
As sacrificial lambs.
Yeah. And unfortunately... on the side of the good, this is also another interesting nugget for people. This would be the first production credit as a producer for Kevin Feige for a Marvel property.
Yeah, good old Kevin Feige.
That's why he's pulling out all the stops for Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
I mean, X Men was his first production credit as far as superhero films are concerned. So I think he's doing this to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that a legacy would begin like that?
And then the what? Oh, where is that? That's, of course, the suits.
Yeah, they didn't give them the iconic blue and yellow suits.
But we get those in Deadpool and Wolverine, so...
Yes, I'm happy about, but I guess during this time, after, comic book films had to...
After your favorite movie, Batman and Robin...
Stop saying stuff like that. After Batman and Robin, they tried to ground some of the films in a bit more realism. Mm-hmm. That's why they decided to go with the black leather attire.
Yeah.
Which I don't hate, but not too much of a fan of.
Yeah.
So, plus also not. I understand due to the length we couldn't have more X Men characters or Brotherhood characters.
Yeah, I was bummed because Beast is one of my favorite characters that he wasn't in it. So
yeah, but overall, the film was good. When we get into our scores,
I give this an 8 out of 10. I actually really like it. Like I said, the reason it's knocked down to is one because my favorite character Beast isn't in the movie, and two because they killed off Robert Kelly, basically. But other than that, everything else worked out. It's really good. It's a movie I can rewatch plenty of times.
For me, I would also give it an 8 out of 10. It is truly a good film. For this being the first major superhero film, yeah, this was pretty good, even though it's rather bare bones. I think that's what we needed at the time. Just a straightforward story, introduce all these characters, have some fun, and potentially set up a sequel. This was good, and the fact that this is essentially what helped start the comic book boom, fantastic. I mean, thanks to the success of this film, Sony would go on to create Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, hey, we got to give it up to this film.
Yeah. If you have other opinions, go find us on Facebook, The Real Screen Team. Where else?
You can also find us on Reddit, Instagram, and TikTok.
For right now.
We'll see. We'll see.
And make sure to find us on YouTube and make sure to like, comment, share our videos, and definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes, as we're almost halfway there to our goal of 500 subscribers. Once we reach 500 subscribers, we can start getting monetization for our videos, and we will also start a Patreon or something along that lines where you all can donate, help us grow our production, and at the same time you'll also get special videos that are exclusive, and if you throw a few extra dollars, we will also do special viewer requests for reviews.
But we're just getting started with the X Men marathon, so hang on to the best of the trilogy.
Yep, X2, X Men United.
So, want to roll us out?
Sure. Well, thank you all for watching. Definitely come back and watch us again. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and click the post notification bell so you're updated with all of our upcoming videos. Well, cut, print, that's a wrap.